Hi, I'm Jonathan M0JSX, and I was scrolling through YouTube the other day, and a video was suggested to me from a YouTuber who I'm not going to name, but you'll probably be able to find based upon what I've called this video. And he was talking about Vanity Callsigns, specifically in the UK, and he predicted that they were coming. I'm going to say they're already here. He started in his video by talking about the US system, and he got a few things wrong. So I just want to address that and then come to my argument about how UK vanity call signs already exist. So let's start with the US system, because if you didn't know already, not only am I M0JSX in the UK, but I'm also K6JSX in the United States. And that K6JSX is a vanity call sign under what the FCC label the Vanity Callsign Program. Now, let's talk about when you've passed your FCC exam. You've passed your exam to get your license in the US, and you pay your $35 to the FCC to get your license. You are issued with a call sign. You don't get a say in what that first call sign you get given is. In my case, I got KE8KTZ. Nice, easy one to remember that one. But they offer the ability to change your call sign. Now, there are certain formats of call sign reserved for particular license classes. So, for instance, my call sign type, the what's called a 1x3, can only be issued to a general license and above, whereas a technician would be that format of a 2x3. There are others for different license classes. For instance, a 2x1 can only be issued to an extra class. There are other examples, I'm not going to go into all of them. But crucially, you don't have to change your call sign as you progress up the ladder. So if you wanted to and you like your call sign that you had at tech level, well, then you can keep that as you progress up. You don't have to change it. But of course you can, and I did. So when I passed my exam, I actually got a general ticket first off. So I did my technician and I did my general all in the same session, came out with a general. Was issued a call sign in the format of a 2x3, which everybody does. That's how the FCC does it. And then I used the vanity call sign process in order to change that. The guy in his video, he talked about how the US has dropped the need to have a call sign from a particular call area, and that's true. You no longer have to conform to the call area where you are, but the call sign that was initially issued will be in the correct call area. So my mailing address in the US is in Michigan, which is in 8 land, hence KE8 in my issued call sign from the FCC. But because there's that geographic restrictions no longer there, I was able to get K6, which historically would have been California, but that rule doesn't apply anymore. That's the US system. Let's just put that to one side. The UK system is slightly different. So you sit your RSGB exam and you receive through the post your candidate number and the details you need to get onto the Ofcom website and get your license. As part of that process, you are offered the option to choose a suffix for your call sign. So at the present moment, if you pass your foundation license holder, your call sign will start M7 and then 3 letters. And at the moment, you're able to try and choose those last 3 letters. Or you can just have, no, just give me the next available if that's your bag. But I'd argue that being able to choose that suffix is already a vanity call sign. It's something that you can choose. If it's available, you could choose your initials, or you could choose something meaningful to you. Or if your name is only 3 letters or could be shortened to 3 letters, well, then there's a chance you might be able to get that. I mean, somebody probably already has, but it is possible. And then the same applies when you pass your intermediate. At the moment, you get a 2E in England 0 call sign. And then when you get to 4, you get an M0 call sign. And again, you can pick that suffix. You can try and have the same as your previous call sign if you want to. or you can change it. So for instance, when I passed my foundation license, we were on the M3 series of call signs. So I had M3 VJO. I kept the same. I kept that VJO suffix for 2E0. And then when I got to my full license, I decided I didn't quite like VJO anymore, and hence why I chose JSX, because it just flowed off the tongue a little bit easier. What's going to happen in the future? And this is what I think the guy was trying to get to, but I don't think he explained it particularly well. So that's what I'm going to try and do now. In the future, Ofcom are going to offer the ability to change your call sign. You don't have to do this. You can stick with your call sign that you've already got if you want to. But in the future, you're going to be able to change your call sign. I think it's roughly every 5 years is the frequency which they would allow, or a call sign has to have been inactive for that period of time before it's available to be reissued. And not only are you going to be able to choose a call sign from the current call sign series, i.e. M0 for a full license, but you're going to be able to use any valid call sign. So if in the future I decided that I don't want an M0 call sign anymore, I quite fancy a G4, because that is also a valid full call sign, I would be able to pick G4 whatever, or G6 whatever. But the call sign has still got to be valid for the license class that I have. And that's the thing, is that that's where maybe the restriction on it being totally vanity is there, because it does have to be valid for the license class. Now when it comes to a full license, that's quite broad, so that could be pretty much any G call, with a few exceptions on numbers, but predominantly G0 through to G8. That could be an M0, an M1 or an M5. At intermediate level, they are introducing the M8 and the M9 series. This will probably go hand in hand, so you'll be able to choose either an M8 or an M9 call sign, and then when it comes to foundation, well then you could choose anything from an M3, an M6 or an M7 series. So that's broadly the rules that Ofcom have announced. In terms of timescales, we don't know. I mean, Ofcom they were aiming for this to be last year. Obviously, it hasn't happened, so at some point this year, I'm sure it will happen, in terms of being able to get this system in use to be able to choose a call sign. Even under the current system, though, there are still exceptions to that rule. If a full license holder applies for their call sign by post, they can get a call sign from a different series. So if you pass your full license and you haven't yet got an M0 call sign, you can apply by post. There is an admin fee, I think it's about £20 to pay, but you could get a G call sign. Or you can change your call sign under exceptional circumstances, Ofcom put it. One of the reasons they give as a reason why you might want to change your call sign is if you've transitioned gender. They would allow you to change your call sign because you may have been known by your previous call sign as your previous gender. If you change gender and you are identifying differently, well, that's absolutely fine, and Ofcom will allow you to change your call sign in that respect. There are other things as well, but let's not go too deeply into those. But yeah, under extreme circumstances at the moment you can still change your call sign. Ofcom will allow you to do that, but it's not something they do as a run-of-the-mill thing. There we go, that's my brief explaining. That's me just trying to set it a little bit straighter. So to the guy who called up the previous YouTuber and asked the question, can I choose my call sign? The answer is yes, so long as it's in the call sign series and a valid call sign for your license level. There you go, simples really. Thanks very much for watching. If you've liked this video, there is a button specifically for that. If you haven't, there's another button which seems to work just fine too. And if you haven't already done so, please do click on that subscribe button, click that notification bell as well, and you will be told when I upload a new video. There's another video coming up over here that the algorithm thinks that you might like next. Until next time, 73, bye bye.